Jake's room smelled like a mix of leftover takeout and mechanical oil. Socks lay in strategic chaos, energy drink cans balanced precariously on the edge of his desk. His blanket was barely covering him, leaving certain parts of him dangerously exposed. Zarel paused at the doorway, her eyes widening at the sight. She had prepared herself for human quirks, but nothing had warned her of this weapon protruding from the mound of fabric. She took a careful step forward, whispering, "This could be lethal if mishandled." Her fingers twitched in an awkward combination of fascination and alarm. To her species, anything resembling a weapon demanded immediate neutralization. Without a second thought, she reached under the blanket, determined to disarm the perceived threat. Jake jerked awake with a startled yelp, his blanket falling away as he sat up. His sleep haze collided with sheer panic. "Zarel! What are you?" he stammered. Her grip didn't loosen, and she squeaked. "It responded! It reacted!" He yelped again, realizing he was at the mercy of alien curiosity. The blanket slipped entirely, exposing more than Jake had hoped anyone would ever see. He scrambled backward, tripping over his own foot, landing half on the bed and half on the floor, muttering, "It's just a tool. A normal human tool." Zarel's eyes narrowed. "A tool? You mean humans leave weapons lying around while unconscious? How civilized." She examined it like a biologist inspecting a rare specimen, her antennae twitching in excitement and fear. Jake buried his face in his hands. "I didn't think anyone would walk in. Seriously, this isn't, it's armed. It's dangerous. I almost activated the suppression sequence." She interrupted, still clutching his blanket mound with one hand and gesturing wildly with the other. Jake groaned, lifting one hand to push her away while keeping the other over his more sensitive areas. "Suppression sequence? Zarel, I promise you it's harmless. I mean, it's harmless unless it's sleeping next to me, but that's the point." Zarel's ears flicked. "Sleeping next to you implies you voluntarily leave weapons exposed? Humans must be braver than I thought. Or foolish. Possibly both." Jake leaned back, taking a deep breath. "Look, my human anatomy isn't a weapon. It's a tool. Get it? Like a screwdriver, hammer, nothing lethal, nothing lethal? You're telling me this appendage isn't capable of destroying a neighbor if provoked?" she asked, raising an eyebrow. "Destroy? Zarel, it can't even open a jar." He tried to snatch it away, but her grip tightened reflexively. "Then why does it move when you wake up? Why did it react to my touch?" She held it like a treasure and a threat simultaneously, peering at it as if it could bite. "It's a reflex. It's basic biology." Jake groaned, burying his face again. She tilted her head, clicking her tongue. "Biology that reacts violently. Fascinating and terrifying. I must document this. If I survive." He finally gave up and flopped back on the bed, defeated. "Just don't tell anyone. Please. I can't. This can't become a thing on the ship." Zarel blinked. "Do you mean the truth or the rumor? Because either way, I'm already making notes." He buried his face deeper, realizing his life had just turned into a public spectacle before lunch. She gently released her grip on the blanket mound but kept a hovering hand in case of sudden weapon movement. "Next time, cover it. Humans, learn to protect your tools," she instructed. Jake exhaled, still mortified, muttering, "Lesson learned. Trust me, lesson learned." The awkward silence stretched for a moment, filled only with the sound of his snoring returning, lighter and more hesitant. Zarel twitched, as though the sound alone could set off an interspecies alarm. "Do humans always sleep with weapons pointed at the ceiling?" she asked. Jake peeked through his fingers. "No. Just sometimes. Apparently, this was the day you chose to find out." He sighed, resigned to the fact that nothing would ever be normal again. She adjusted her stance, studying him like a commander evaluating a rookie soldier. "You are the most dangerous human I have ever encountered," she stated. "Yet oddly endearing." Jake groaned, thinking about the next time he fell asleep. He might have to invent a new human-alien treaty just to survive mornings in his own room. Jake sat on the edge of the bed, still clutching the blanket around him like a shield, while Zarel hovered, notebook in hand, antennae twitching with suspicion and curiosity. "I still don't understand," she said, voice trembling slightly between panic and fascination. "If this is a human tool, why does it respond when touched? Why does it awaken with such force?" Jake rubbed his eyes, groaning. "Because it's alive, Zarel. It reacts like a reflex. It's not a weapon, it's automatic." She tilted her head. "Automatic? Humans leave automatic weapons under blankets?" He pinched the bridge of his nose. "Zarel, it's not a weapon. It's part of me." "Part of you?" Her voice rose with disbelief. "Then why does it protrude so aggressively? And why do you humans not secure it?" Jake flopped back, defeated, muttering. "I didn't think anyone would walk in, obviously." Her ears flicked. "Clearly, human males are the most reckless species I've observed. Entirely unarmed, and yet, dangerously prepared." Jake blinked. "Prepared? I'm not prepared. I'm asleep." "Sleeping does not negate threat potential," she said solemnly. "In fact, it magnifies it. An exposed appendage during unconsciousness is high risk. You could injure yourself, or worse, someone else." He groaned. "Someone else? You think I'm, wielding it like a club in my sleep?" Zarel nodded slowly. "I have seen it twitch. Unpredictable. Capable of destruction." He waved his hands. "It doesn't twitch aggressively. It twitches naturally. It's biological, like a cat stretching or a reflex, okay." She scribbled furiously, muttering. "Biological reflexes are dangerous. I must record this." Jake threw his arms up. "Just don't. Please. I beg you, don't share this with the crew. I'll never forgive you." Zarel blinked. "You expect me to ignore a living weapon that could strike at any moment? Living weapon? I give up," he muttered, burying his face in his hands. "Fine," she said, tapping her pen. "Then allow me to ask, if it isn't meant for combat, why is it, shaped like that? Humans never have straightforward anatomy." Jake peeked through his fingers, grimacing. "I told you, it's just biology. It's functional. Stop reading too much into it." "Functional?" she repeated, clearly intrigued. "Functional for what? Defense? Mating? Communication?" Jake groaned. Yes to some of those, but not in the way you're imagining." Her antennae twitched as she leaned closer. "Not in the way I'm imagining, Then why do humans not guard their tools at night? Don't you know other species would kill for this level of vulnerability?" He banged his forehead against the wall. "Because I'm not a threat. And it's private. Can we please not make this into a planetary incident?" Zarel's eyes softened, just a little, as she studied him. "You are strangely endearing, despite your recklessness. I came to protect you, and yet I might have mortally embarrassed you. It is both alarming and fascinating." Jake peeked at her cautiously. Wait a second. Are you saying you actually care if I get hurt?" She tilted her head. "Of course. Humans sleep with weapons exposed, and I am the only witness. It is my duty." He blinked, the blush creeping up his neck. "Duty? You call this embarrassment duty?" She scribbled in her notebook, muttering. "Embarrassment is irrelevant if survival is ensured." Jake leaned back, groaning. "Only you could turn a bedtime accident into a full-blown HR violation." Zarel's lips twitched. "Perhaps you underestimate me. Human males underestimate everything until it strikes. And yet, I will admit, this was unexpectedly intimate." "Intimate?" Jake's eyes widened. "Zarel! Don't even." She waved her hands dismissively. "I only mean, observing a human so defenseless, revealing all vulnerabilities, it is enlightening." He buried his face again. "Oh, great. So I'm both dangerous and enlightening. Perfect." She lowered her voice, almost shyly. I only wish I could understand more the human need to sleep so exposed. Jake peeked between his fingers. It's warm, okay? I get hot. My tool is not a weapon. It's just a part of me. And now it's making me question my entire life. Zarel clicked her tongue, scribbling one last note. Human anatomy, dangerous, unpredictable, endearing. Must monitor closely. Jake groaned. I'm doomed. Absolutely doomed. By morning, the rumor had already spread like a low-level energy flare across the ship. Whispers followed Jake down the corridors, with other aliens giving him looks that ranged from envy to horror. I saw Zarel acting heroic, with your tool, one said. She disarmed it, and possibly you, at the same time, another whispered. Jake flushed violently. No, no, no. That's not what happened. Zarel appeared beside him, notebook clutched to her chest, her antennae trembling with mortification. See? Now they all believe we have a bond, she muttered. A bond? He groaned. No. Misunderstanding. Nothing romantic. Nothing romantic? Her voice rose in incredulity. Humans are strange. You say nothing, yet this appendage has sparked interspecies scandal. Jake pinched the bridge of his nose. I am done. I'm done with everyone. I just want normal life. Is that too much? Normal life for humans includes sleeping dangerously exposed, she said, tapping her pen. Normal life for aliens includes recording every potential threat. We are doomed to coexist. Their argument drew attention from another roommate, a smaller alien who always loved gossip. Wait, you two, are you secretly? They froze, and Zarel's blush turned her skin several shades darker. Absolutely not, she said. We are only clarifying weapon hazards and human behavioral patterns. Behavioral patterns? Jake whispered, eyes wide. It's not what it sounds like. It sounds exactly like what it sounds like, the small alien replied, smirking. The pair were suddenly summoned to the ship's HR department for a cross-species boundary seminar. Jake groaned, knowing his life had just turned into a living PowerPoint slide. They sat together, fuming, while a hologram displayed, "Do not touch human tools without explicit consent," in flashing red letters. Zarel muttered, "They have no idea the magnitude of what occurred." Jake gave her a sidelong glance. "Do you even want me to explain?" "I want you to survive," she said softly, glancing down at the folds of his blanket, now neatly tucked, his tools safely concealed. "That's not helping my case," he muttered. The seminar continued with diagrams showing improper human-tool interactions, all accompanied by awkward innuendo that left Jake squirming and Zarel writing notes for her personal file. "He's unusually flexible," she whispered to herself, ignoring the blush creeping over her cheeks. Jake hissed, "You are not allowed to comment on anatomy in public." She blinked. "It is research. I have sworn an oath." The seminar ended, leaving them both exhausted and mortified. Back in the room, they attempted to establish new rules. No entering each other's rooms unannounced. Jake started. Check. No touching human tools without explicit authorization, Zarel replied. And no staring, he added reluctantly. Especially while they are extended, she said. He sighed, realizing that even rules were awkward in their case. Fine. But you have to admit, it's hilarious in a dark sort of way, she said, twitching her antennae. Hilarious for you, maybe, he muttered. I nearly died of embarrassment. Their eyes met, and for a moment, the tension dissolved into shared amusement, tinged with something deeper. Zarel's voice softened. I came in because I thought you were in danger. Not to embarrass you. Not intentionally. Jake paused, then smiled faintly. Well, that's actually kind of sweet. If terrifying. I will admit your reflexive tool startled me. Yet your vulnerability is oddly endearing, she said, almost shyly. Jake's face went red. Endearing? You're saying watching me half naked in my sleep is cute? Scientifically intriguing, she amended, scribbling another note. Jake groaned, flopping back onto the bed. I give up. This is the most humiliating bonding experience of my life. She tilted her head, curious, a faint smile tugging at her lips. Bonding experience. Perhaps we have begun to understand each other better. Misunderstanding or not, there is value here. Value? Jake laughed weakly. Sure, the value of staying awake forever, never sleeping without a blanket, and never trusting aliens with curiosity. She tapped her chin thoughtfully. Curiosity is an honorable trait. Perhaps one day you will thank me for it. Or sue me for emotional trauma, he muttered. The tension between embarrassment, humor, and a subtle spark of attraction hung in the air as they both realized that despite everything, nothing would ever be quite normal between them again. By the time Jake and Zarel finally faced the crew, the atmosphere was already charged with curiosity and barely concealed amusement. Jake took a deep breath. Okay, first of all, nothing you've heard is true, he said. Zarel stepped forward, flustered but determined. Second of all, my observations were strictly scientific. A small alien whispered. Scientific or recreational? Jake groaned, face-palming. Neither. Absolutely neither. Zarel tilted her head, antennae flicking, clearly enjoying the spectacle more than she would admit. He exaggerates. I only recorded the potential threat levels. Biological appendages are dangerous when exposed. Appendages? A crew member echoed, smirking. You mean tools? Yes, tools. But human tools are unpredictable. I nearly activated emergency suppression protocol, she explained. Jake clenched his fists. See? Totally normal explanation. Nothing scandalous. Absolutely professional. The crew's smirks widened as Zarel elaborated on twitching patterns, growth response, and reaction speed, unintentionally making everything sound far more adult and suggestive than it actually was. Jake's eyes widened. Zarel! Stop describing it like a combat weapon manual. She waved her hand, oblivious. It's fascinating. The appendage reacts reflexively to stimuli, requires precise handling, and is capable of sudden eruptions. Sudden eruptions? Jake shrieked. Stop! Just stop! The crew erupted in laughter, exchanging knowing glances, while Jake's cheeks burned hotter than a reactor core. Zarel finally realized she might have gone too far. She cleared her throat. In short, it is harmless when handled properly and with consent. Jake sighed, relieved but still mortified. Thank you. That's all I'm asking. Back in private, Jake leaned against the wall, exhausted. Zarel approached cautiously. I apologize again for the incident. My intentions were protective. Jake managed a tired smile. I get it. You were trying to help. Even if it resulted in public humiliation and a near ship-wide rumor. She tilted her head, considering him. Yet you were exposed and still human. Brave in a strange, vulnerable sort of way. Jake blinked. Vulnerable? Seriously? Yes. And strangely endearing, she admitted softly. Jake felt heat rise again, this time at the sincerity rather than embarrassment. Endearing, huh? So my tool is cute? Zarel's lips twitched. Scientifically intriguing. Not, intentionally attractive. Merely functional fascination. He groaned. Functional fascination? That's worse. She tilted her head. You misinterpret. Fascination is admiration, in my species. Jake chuckled, shaking his head. So I'm admired. Great. That's the takeaway. Zarel scribbled one last note in her notebook. Human anatomy, unpredictable, reflexive, and admired under certain conditions. Jake sank onto the bed, wrapping himself properly in the blanket this time. Zarel hovered, still monitoring, twitching her antennae. I cannot risk repeating the prior exposure, she said firmly. Next time, I will check for potential threats before approaching. Jake raised an eyebrow. Potential threats? She nodded. Humans are dangerous, even while asleep. Especially when unprotected. He groaned, pretending to faint. I should just live in a vacuum suit forever. Zarel twitched her lips, clearly suppressing a smile. Perhaps a compromise: blanket secured, human tool neutralized, and controlled supervision. Controlled supervision? You mean hovering, notebook in hand? Yes. Essential. Mandatory. Jake laughed, shaking his head. Fine, fine. But only if you promise to stop analyzing it in public. She considered this. Agreed. Public analysis is hazardous to human dignity. He exhaled, finally relaxing. Thank you. At least we can survive mornings now. Zarel straightened, her tone serious but playful. Mornings are always hazardous. Humans never learn. Jake smirked. Then I guess I'll meet a hero every day. I will comply, she said, smirking in return. The room fell silent for a moment, a comfortable tension hanging in the air. Jake peeked through the edge of the blanket. You're not going to grab it again while I sleep, right? Zarel's eyes flicked toward him, and she muttered. I cannot guarantee safety in the event of snoring anomalies. Before sighing and walking away. Jake flopped back, laughing despite himself. I am doomed, he whispered, shaking his head. But it was the kind of doomed that included laughter, a hint of attraction, and a very careful, but alive, tool. That night, blankets tucked securely, Jake drifted off, Zarel watching silently, notebook closed but antennae alert, ready for the next human hazard, armed only with concern and curiosity, and maybe just a touch of admiration.